Good afternoon. The Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 meeting of Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 3 is called to order. Do we have any members of the public who would like to talk about agenda items? Has anybody signed up?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Number 3, development update, review of and discussion on the fiscal year 2023 annual development update. Jessica Hubble, Assistant Director of Community Planning and Redevelopment. Jessica.
Good afternoon, everyone. So just a quick reminder, so in 2016, the tri-party agreement established that the zone will provide 98% of its revenues to the Imperial Redevelopment District, and that helps implement the project plan. So we make biannual payments to them in March and September, and to date, the zone had provided over $6.6 million to the district. So here you can see a snapshot of the project plan. The expenditures are estimated just under $200 million. And then now we'll go into the development update. So in 2022, the city's taxable value of the zone was around $430 million, and the county's was $409 million. This is roughly an 18 and 19% change from the previous year, respectively. And then the Heritage Museum Visitor Center, as you know, is located in the container warehouse. So the Heritage Museum is currently open by appointment only, and then they do heritage hikes every second Saturday. They did some really interesting and different events this year. Saw about 800 people come to these events. They had Friends and Christmas open house, a night at the museum fundraiser, and then Heritage Friends Healthcare. And then their largest event is the Dia de los Muertos event that happens. They saw around 500 people at this event, and people did travel all the way from California, Florida, New Mexico, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. And then the visitor center closed in March of this year, but is transitioning to the Smart Financial Center. It's going to be called the Sweet Shop. It's going to be located right at the front when you walk in those main doors, and it's set to open early next year.
Can we ask questions? I know it's just a report. So on the museum, do we have any plans to do anything more extensive than just private events there or events? Are we just waiting?
Well, it's really up to them. I mean, they lease the space, they offer the space, they're in charge of programming it. I mean, we work with them, you know, if they have requests on partnership, but we're not involved in their programming aspect of it.
And the reason I ask is that our town hall was fabulous there. So is there any way for the city to start utilizing the space more so that we can get more awareness of its ability to host different events? I had my mother-in-law's 90th birthday party there, and no one even knew it existed or was available.
Yeah, I mean, they promote on there because basically they have access to do all private events, I'd say after hours and on the weekends, because before the city used it as offices for the tourism staff that was there. Okay. Now they do have a lot more flexibility because we're not there and they can do events there. It's promoted on their website and on the Visit Sugar Land website, but we can definitely try to look at some more opportunities of pushing out that space is available. But as far as city use, I mean, all we have to do is ask, and they're mostly pretty amenable to us using it.
Okay, and basically that was a question, can we collaborate with them more? So
yeah, no, for sure. We can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the Fort Bend Children's Discovery Center is located just under the museum. It opened in 2016, and since October 2022, it's seen about 105,000 visitors. They just installed a new cultural exhibit this past September called Dragons and Fairies. It's exploring Vietnam through folk tales. It's supposed to just educate better on the cultural heritage, increase the appreciation for different cultures. And then they also added some new workshops, which are led by degreed educators. And they did a slide making, painted rock, dino terrariums, and then owl pellet dissections.
Could you elaborate on owl pellet?
And you're going to do that.
You know, they dissect owl pellets from what I understand. Yeah.
No more questions.
Yeah, it's great. And then, as you guys know, the Imperial Historic District project is City Council and staff's top priority. We're currently partnered with Puma Development. It's set to be an adaptive reuse of the Imperial Char House, surrounded by mixed-use development. Today, we've approved a $5 million reimbursement agreement for pre-development and construction costs, and then there's an office lease agreement for future space in the Char House. There has been an amendment to the land use plan, which has been approved, and then a general development plan, which has been approved. In September, there was a workshop that provided an overview of the work done on the Imperial Char House and the historic tax credit work that's been going on. The char house itself is looking to be around $59 million to renovate, and so staff is working on financial solutions at this time. So as far as the commercial development in the zone, there should be a map in front of you because this map is quite small to read on here. But starting at the top, like at Boston Highway 6, there's a 7 Brew Coffee that's in the works right now. And then if you go down more, I'm just gonna point over here, down by this lake, this is Imperial and Highway 6. There are medical office buildings going in. Tallyard Brewery is right at Imperial Highway 6. You can't miss it. It's a huge orange building right now. Supposed to be opening early next year. And then there's some office condos going right next to that. Amfi Kids was supposed to be an interactive children's entertainment venue that, from what we know, that is not moving forward, but it is open for sale for any prospective buyer. And then the Fort Bend County Precinct Annex is going behind Overture. And then right across from Overture, the city owns 6.8 acres. It's currently used as additional parking for the baseball stadium if they need it for overflow. And then right next to the Imperial Lofts, there's a retail plaza that's being worked on right now that should start in the coming months with construction. So lastly, but certainly not least, Constellation Field. So as we know, this opened in 2012. The total visitors for 2023, I can't speak today, was around 381,000. This is inclusive of baseball and non-game day special events. As we know, we had the Savannah Bananas this year, which was a huge success. We've got some pictures here to showcase. And then there were many major league appearances, Jose Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, and we expect to see those again next year and the years following. So part of becoming the AAA affiliated baseball team, there's been consistent renovations and enhancements made to the stadium. So some that were done in 2023, they added a roof and fans to the bullpen patio in the outfield. They removed the pool to increase the seating in the HEB picnic plaza and also try to utilize that more for company outings. And then they added concessions throughout the ballpark. So Freddy's, Double Dave's, a bigger walk-through concession stand, and then Dippin' Dots throughout the site. And with that, I'll take any questions or comments.
Questions, comments?
No question.
Jessica,
Yes, sir.
forgive my ignorance, the difference between the taxable value, city taxable versus county, what does the county not count towards taxable value that we do?
Justin, do you know that answer?
I think the exemptions there are a little different between the two, so there's a slight difference.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, thanks. Anything else?
No.
Okay, thanks, Jessica, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item number 4, annual report, consideration of an action on a recommendation of the fiscal year 2023 annual report to members of city council. We have Ana Rodriguez.
Okay, so today we will be reviewing the fiscal year 2023 annual report for TIRZ 3. Now, this is a report that's a requirement of Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code, and in the report is included the zone's values, revenues, and expenditures. And upon the board's approval, the report will be reviewed by City Council and then approved before being sent to the State Comptroller, as well as the taxing entities of the zone, including Fort Bend County, Fort Bend ISD, and the Imperial Redevelopment District. Now, some basics of the TIRZ 3 is that before we review the report, is that the zone was created by the city in 2007 with a 5.6 million base value at a 50% participation rate. And in 2013, the county agreed to participate at 50% of the property taxes collected above their base value of 11.7 million. And that was the base value in 2012. And finally, in 2016, the tri-party funding agreement commits 98% of the zone's revenues to the Imperial Redevelopment District. And this is to enact the TIRZ project plan, while remaining the 2% that remains is retained by the zone and used for administrative and service costs. Now we will review the FY23 annual report, starting with the revenues. So in FY twenty-three, a total of 1.5 million was received in revenue. And roughly 846,000 was received from the county's incremental taxes and 723,000 from the city, with 1,395 in interest income. And in FY twenty-three, the expenditures totaled 1.59 million. About 47,000 was spent on legal services, 8,000 was spent on administrative services, and 1.53 million was transferred to the Imperial Redevelopment District. And additionally, the zone did not incur any bond indebtedness in 2023, and there was none prior to that. And next is the captured values for tax year 2022, which is the same as fiscal year 2023. Now, the city's appraisal value came in at 430 million. So given the 5.6 million base value, the total captured value is just over 424.4 million. And now for the county's appraisal value, it came in at 409 million. So given the county's 11.7 million base value, the total captured value is roughly 397.9 million. And finally, as previously mentioned, the total taxes received for tax year 2022 is 1.5 million. And that means since the creation of the zone in 2007, we have received approximately 7 million in tax payments. And with that, staff recommends the board approve the recommendation to City Council for the TIRZ 3 fiscal year 2023 annual report. And as a reminder, copies of the report will be sent to the state comptroller, the taxing entities of the zone, following the City Council's approval.
Thanks, Anna. Questions, anybody?
No question.
I do kind of have a question, and this may not be, maybe it should have been to Devin. We have all the income and we have the basis for the income based on taxes from county and state and city. The expenditures on this do not get included in this report. And I know the expenditures were lumped into one base sum. They were in the IRD. Those detailed expenses are included in the IRD report. Is that correct? So they wouldn't be in this? Is that right? Correct. Yeah, you don't have to tell me what those expenses are. I can ask for that later.
Yeah. Well, let me just, so the important thing to note is that 98% of the TIRZ revenue goes to IRD.
Right.
So of that revenue, yes, the TIRZ or the IRD would be the one that would show those expenses related to the TIRZ. Yeah, another, I think, important, the TIRZ does, Anna mentioned that there's, the TIRZ doesn't have any bond indebtedness, but IRD does, and because they've utilized the TIRZ revenue to do bonds.
Okay.
So, but it's not the TIRZ's bonds, it's IRD's bonds.
That was kind
And
of,
so that's the nuance that's why I wanted to mention that.
okay, thank you. That was kind of the answer to my question. I appreciate that. Thank you. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further questions?
No question.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Any against? Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Okay, guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Done. Thanks, everybody, for coming out today.